Hello and welcome back to TechNuovo. My name's Steph and today we're taking a look at Diablo 4 on the Steam Deck and running through some of the graphical settings that you can change to get the best possible quality and frame rate. And as usual, just for the sake of transparency, I have got my Steam Deck over there on an Ivelar dock. As you can see, that is now running into an Elgato HD60 capture card, something like that, directly into my motherboard. I'm running everything through OBS on the left-hand monitor there and previewing everything on the right-hand side. And to actually control, I am using just a mouse and keyboard plugged directly into the Steam Deck dock on the left-hand side there, because there were some issues with the game's controller not working for some strange reason. So yeah, just wanted to let you know how I've got everything set up here. So we have just landed on the main menu for Diablo 4 on the Steam Deck version. Just a reminder, it is not the Battle.net version. This is the version that released on Steam, and it was downloaded through Steam and launched through Steam, and that's the way that we've got it set up at the moment. Now, I just want to also admit something, because I spent a very, very long time making content for this game, for the Steam Deck yesterday, and I missed out a fundamental setting that needed to be set. So let me, before we go any further, just quit the game and jump back to Steam. Okay, so now we are back on Steam. There is one setting that I would recommend changing. So if you go over to your settings on the right-hand side here, go to Properties, and go to Compatibility, you can see that you can force the use of a specific Steam Play compatibility tool. Now, that wasn't ticked to begin with. I've changed it manually to Proton Experimental. It was just on that. So I ticked that, selected Proton Experimental, and what that done, which I could be wrong, but I don't think I am, because everything changed as soon as I changed this. The frame rate just increased exponentially. No longer was I locked to 30 FPS. I was hitting way above that. So just be aware, get that selected first before jumping into Diablo 4. So now we're back on the main menu for Diablo 4. This is my character, by the way, level 6. I haven't played this game for a very long time. You can see at the moment now our FPS is hitting 45, with the GPU being 98% utilized and the CPU at 24% or hovering in them by the mid-20s. So diving into the graphical settings here, the first I wanted to point out is my font scale and cursor scale at medium and small. Now, I've got this set because I am using a 27-inch monitor, so it can just stay as the default because I'm playing it on a larger screen. If you are playing it on the Steam Deck screen, you know, the little 8-inch screen, then you may want to up your font size, and then also tracking your cursor if you are using a mouse and keyboard while using the smaller screen as well. But if you're using a games controller, you won't need to worry about this too much. Vertical sync is switched on, limited cutscene FPS is switched on, peripheral lighting, it is switched on, but it doesn't matter if it's switched on or not. I'm not using a keyboard that is reactive to this game. Plus, we're playing it on the Steam Deck anyway, and then there might be driver compatibilities with Linux and things like that. So on or off doesn't really make any difference whatsoever. My resolution scaling is at default at the moment, which uses a temporal anti-aliasing and an adjustable resolution percentage, with my sharpened image at 6, although I can boost that to around 10, and it looks absolutely wicked. Moving on, got a custom quality preset on there at the moment, so my texture quality is at medium, my anisotropic filtering is at 8, shadow quality at medium, shadows, dynamic shadows and soft shadows switched on, shader quality medium, SSAO quality at low, fog quality at medium, clutter quality at medium, though this can be boosted if you wanted to get that up to high. I'd keep it at medium just because it's clutter. Everything's quite small in this game anyway, so it doesn't need to be the highest quality. Fur quality at medium, water simulation quality and anti-aliasing quality at low, geometric complexity at medium, terrain geometry, physics quality both at high, particles quality at medium, though you could push that if you wanted to, and then reflection quality at low, because again, reflections in this game are quite small, so they don't need to be the highest quality in the world. Distortion I have got switched on, but you can keep that on and off. It's up to you if you want to. You don't have to have it switched on. And those there are the settings that really work for me. So let's jump into the game. Okay, so it is daytime in Kyovashad, and we are currently getting around a 55 to 58, 54 FPS. So the actual FPS score, I don't think is too bad. One of the higher complaints I have had is to do with the actual texture settings of things like the pole. As you can see, it is a little bit hazy when you move around. Now, there are settings inside of the graphical settings that could be switched, or could be turned up to really make those textures pop as much as possible. Let's turn on. Let's get that back up to high. Have we got... Where's the textures? Texture. Let's get textures on high as well. Let's see what that gives us. I think that's going to give us a crashed game. That gave us a crashed game. Okay, so now that we've changed the texture quality to high and a couple of other graphical settings, I can't remember what they are. You have to go back and pause the video. We are currently hitting around the 50s, late 50s, and we also just snagged 60 FPS there, which I don't think is too bad at all. And looking at the quality of the game at the moment, I'm actually pretty impressed. I mean, yes, if you zoom in, things do start looking a little bit rough around the edges, but no, I don't think that's too bad at all. Certainly absolutely playable. I know there's not a huge amount going on the screen at the moment, but I think there's enough going around on the screen to really start causing a bit of an issue. Oh, smashed it. Level 8. So even in this combat at the moment, it's still sticking around the 50s and the 60s. 60 FPS? 61? 60? Okay, it does dip down to 50 every now and then, of course. But even still, I'm not noticing really any kind of stutter with these settings. And to be honest with you, this is, at those settings, an incredibly playable game. Okay, so being back in Kyovashad, what I would like to do before we move on, I've just had a thought, is turn on some kind of resolution scaling. So if I go down to AMD FSR2, do take note you can't use on the Steam Deck DLSS Super Resolution or Intel XeSS. You've got to go with the default temporal or AMD FSR 1 and 2. So I'm just going to go for 2 for now. Sharpen image by 50 with my max foreground FPS still at 200. So let's save that out. As you can already see, I mean, I'm not sure if it was noticeable on video, but straight away things are looking very hazy, especially around the spear on my back. But saying that, I am getting more of a solid 60 FPS with the FSR on there. So if that's something that you're passionate about, if you would like to hit 60 as more of a consistent score, then definitely switch on FSR2. But if it doesn't bother you too much, then you'd rather the higher quality that we've just experienced at a native resolution, then, I mean, from what we've seen so far, you don't need FSR on there to achieve any kind of great performance. So you can achieve a decent performance without FSR on there with the settings that we've run through. So take that as you will, but I just don't think FSR is generally needed.
lift more.
I could lift more. I think it's looking absolutely, even still, it's looking absolutely fantastic. I am very, very pleased.
My burden is too great.
Very, very pleased with the performance. My burden. And now we're back on the main menu once again. Let's jump back into the graphical settings, because this time we're going to be changing the quality preset to high. Save the changes there. And just to let you know, resolution scaling is stuck at the same default settings as well. Let's jump back into Diablo. Yeah, as you can possibly tell, I mean, I can tell on my preview window here that it's showing signs of lag running at the high graphical preset. Yes, it's nice and sharp and it's clear, but it's just not running that smooth. And I think if you dive back into the option menu, running FSR2 on there should give us a boost to our... Yeah, again, that's now made the game much, much smoother. Even though we are still hitting in town at the moment at night around the late 40s, early 50s. I'm not sure if it's worth running a high preset for that extra graphics at the sacrifice of the smoothness of running it at a medium graphical preset, if that makes sense. I'd rather the higher FPS on the medium graphical preset than push it to high for a lesser FPS and then end up having to play the game not as sharp, if that makes sense, because of the FSR. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Give me a native resolution all day, is what I'm trying to say, rather than an upscaled one because of that FSR. But if that's not you, this is playable with the FSR switched on, FSR2 anyway switched on. So keep that in mind as well when you're coming to choose your graphics settings. So I've just dived back to the main menu because there is seemingly a little bit of trouble if you're changing graphical settings within the game itself. So dive back to the main menu if you are going to be changing too many graphics, because I am experiencing a bit of a crash. So let's change the resolution scaling back to default. Let's change that to medium. Save the changes there. Close. And relaunch the game. Then, yeah, run a medium preset. Game's running nice and smooth. What I will do, as we have just done, like a quick run around on a higher preset, I'm going to put the two side by side for you on screen now, so you can get an idea of the glitchiness that I have just experienced. Not so much glitchiness, but just stuttering that I've just experienced when running at a high graphical preset on this game. Now, of course, we are playing in docked mode as well. What you could do is, if you are playing on the actual Steam Deck screen, is when you go into your performance menu and then down to performance, underneath here, we are locking that at 60 as a frame rate limit, but if we turn that off, it's not going to make much difference really to the game, I don't think. But there will be a setting that will allow you to lock your frame rate to 40 or 45, 50 FPS, just to get, as you can see, the game's pretty much running at a near stable 60 in this area anyway. But we haven't dropped much past that, really. In the towns, it goes down to maybe the 45s, the late 40s. But if you lock your frame rate to, say, 40 frames per second, which loads of people do on their Steam Deck anyway, once they are playing actually on the screen rather than docked onto a monitor, then there is a very, very good chance you can get a very nice stable frame rate on there. So just keep that in mind. So there you go. There is Diablo 4 on the Steam Deck. I must say, it actually ran exceptionally well, especially when it was pushed more towards the medium graphical preset. We were hitting a decent, especially on my preview here, close to 60 FPS, not quite in the late 50s, but If you are actually playing it on the Steam Deck itself and on the screen, remember you can lock that frame rate to say 40, 45 or even 50 FPS if you so desire, depending on how low you want to go with the graphical quality. But as I said, it performed absolutely superb during my test here. It looked great and it was nice and smooth, it was nice and reactive, and there was no input lag. I had a problem with my games controller not being recognized by the Diablo game, but a mouse and keyboard plugged into my dock was absolutely fine and that worked. So yeah, not sure what happened with the games controller, but as I say, Diablo 4 is a AAA game and it runs absolutely fantastically on the Steam Deck. So good going, Valve. Good going, Blizzard Activision as well for bringing it over natively to Steam. Great idea. Great game. Thank you very much for checking out this video where we took a look at Diablo 4 on the Steam Deck. If you did enjoy the video, then please hit that like button, subscribe to keep up with our latest tech and gaming videos, and also let us know in the comments down below. Are you going to be playing Diablo 4 on the Steam Deck, or are you playing it already on the Steam Deck? Let us know how you're getting on. And also if you're enjoying the game as well, let us know in the comments down below. As I say, thanks very much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.